I was trying to figure out the right thing to do, and the idea popped into my head, forget about what's right or wrong, public key cryptography. Well, what bigger problem is there? What bigger issue is there that I had fooled myself? I had figured out what I wanted to do and then gone and done it. 4 years ago, someone told me that trillions of dollars a day in financial transactions were protected using our technology.
We stand today on the brink of a revolution in cryptography. With these words, Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman opened the 1976 paper in which they introduced public key cryptography. In 1976, the field was largely unknown outside of secret research at government agencies, such as the one where Alan Turing himself once worked as a cryptographer.
When I started working in cryptography in the late 60s, early 70s, even before I met you, my colleagues uniformly told me I was crazy to work in it.
By 1974, Martin Hellman had established himself as a professor of electrical engineering at Stanford University.
When I met you, you were traveling around the country as an itinerant cryptographer, living on, whatever you'd saved up, and the largesse of the AI community, which seems to bunk people free of charge if they like you.
What happened was that I got interested in cryptography, and so did several other people who did some significant things, but their little interest lasted a month or something like that. 6 months later, I was thinking about nothing else.
Their first half-hour meeting stretched into the night, and Whitfield Diffie decided to remain at Stanford. There they were a formidable team.
I think Marty's smarter than I am, and I'm more imaginative than he is. And so I think in our working relationship, I came up with more problems and he came up with more answers. We sit in public and negotiate and come out with a secret, and none of the observers who've heard every bid and response knows what the secret is. So that's what the Diffie-Hellman key exchange.
So in traditional cryptography, we often call it conventional or symmetric cryptography. If you and I want to communicate and there are people that we listening in, I have to have a courier go from me to you with the key. We then share a common secret key, and as long as the other people don't get it, I can then encode messages, encrypt messages in ways that you can decrypt but no one else can. You also get some authentication, because when you get it properly encrypted from me, you know it came from me and not from some third party. With public key cryptography, we're able to bypass that, and it sounds impossible. Basically, to think of a physical analogy, if you and I are talking back and forth in a crowded room with everyone listening in, no prearrangement, no couriers, I'm able to exchange information with you that no one else is able to get. And then even more amazingly, after we've done that, I can pick someone else in the room and do exactly the same thing, or you and that person can do the same thing. And so it seems to do the impossible. The ideal cryptographic system from a military point of view would be a trapdoor cryptographic system. One that would have secret information built into it. You might know it's built in, but unless you know exactly what that bit sequence is, you can't break it. But if you ever capture it, and because I built that bit sequence in, I know how to break it. And from there to public key cryptography is not that big a step. Several years ago, when someone told me, well, it protects trillions of dollars a day in transactions. And I said, oh no, you mean trillions of dollars a year? They said, no, a day. And I went and checked, foreign exchange alone is $4 trillion a day. And I also think that some of it, while it wasn't specifically cited, is fighting for the right for people to publish their papers in this area, because NSA originally thought that this was a born classified area, and so even though we had no benefit of classified knowledge, they felt that they should have control over our papers, and we fought them on that.
The Association for Computing Machinery sincerely thanks Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman for all they've done. We feature their life and work in the June 2016 issue of Communications of the ACM. A banquet in San Francisco celebrates them, along with recipients of this year's other ACM awards.